Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Arc of Ohio podcast. I am Lindsey.althaus, the Northwest Regional Director, and I have Darcy Milburn today from the National Office. How are you today, Darcy?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Um, Darcy is the Director of Social Security and Healthcare Policy at the ARC. She advocates for policies advancing health equity and economic justice for people with disabilities. Prior to joining the ARC, Darcy served as a legislative assistant to Congressman Lloyd Doggett, responsible for health, Social Security, disability, energy, and environmental policy. She also contributed to global research and advocacy campaigns during other previous roles at Johns Hopkins University and Human Rights Watch. Darcy received her master's of public health from Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health and her BA in International Relations from the Elliott School of International Affairs at George Washington University. Welcome, Darcy. So, with your position, Darcy, you do a lot of work with the SNAP program. Can you give us any updates on SNAP?
Absolutely. So I guess just for folks' reference, SNAP is the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program that helps more than 42 million Americans put food on the table. And the USDA estimates that around 10% of SNAP beneficiaries are adults with disabilities. So it's a really important uh, program for our community. Um, and there's a lot that's happening in this to this program right now. A lot of that was caused by the passage of the reconciliation bill
Mhm.
last summer, which made the biggest cut to SNAP funding in U.S. history. It represents around a 20% cut to SNAP, or around $186 billion. And so in 2026, we expect to see the impacts of those cuts filtering through to state budgets and starting to impact individuals.
That is insane that that's happening. Like, I can't even imagine what is going through those families' minds right now with all of these cuts and all this uncertainty.
Absolutely. And it was and the importance of SNAP was really put under a big spotlight last year during the government shutdown, when families lost access to SNAP for the better part of a month. And we saw just how important this program is to trying to keep food on the table the for low income families.
Yeah, it's awful and absolutely unacceptable in my eyes on it. Like, I can't believe that those cuts are happening and then people worrying about healthcare as well.
Mhm.
So, along with your amazing advocacy with SNAP, you also do advocacy for SSI. Are there any updates there?
Yeah, so SSI is a program called Supplemental Security Income. It's a Social Security benefit for people with disabilities, and it's also super important because in addition to the monthly cash assistance that SSI gives people, it
Mhm.
unlocks access to healthcare, namely Medicaid
Mhm.
eligibility. So trying to make sure that people can get and maintain access to SSI is something that I work a lot on. And there's kind of two buckets of things that I'm tracking. One is a lot of like problems that have existed for a very, very long time that, with our current economic conditions, have just become worse and worse. For example, SSI has a lot of really old rules that haven't been updated since like the 80s.
Hmm.
And one example of that is the SSI asset limit, which has been stuck at just $2,000 since 1989. And so then it hasn't been adjusted for inflation. So because of all of the inflation that we've seen in the economy, it's made it even harder for people to stay under that asset limit,
Hmm.
make sure that they have less than $2,000 in total financial resources in order to qualify for that program. Um, uh, SSI also has horrific uh, policies that essentially penalize getting married. And so one of our longstanding areas of work is to end those penalties for marriage for people with disabilities. And then um, there the other bucket of issues that I've been following really closely are customer service challenges that people are have been experiencing, um, namely trouble getting appointments at in order to resolve issues with their benefits, trouble getting benefits in the first place because of low staffing at the Social Security Administration, and a lot of those customer service issues got a lot worse at last year,
Hmm.
due to a lot of upheaval in the Social Security Administration. So I've been working um, uh, to try and strengthen the administration of the benefit programs too.
If one of our listeners in Ohio is having an issue with the customer service, who should they reach out to?
So I definitely recommend that people reach out to their members of Congress, and as well as submitting their story to the ARC's storytelling portal on our website. Um, Reaching out to your member of Congress is free, and it's actually part of the work that your member of Congress is supposed to do for you, because they're supposed to be your advocate when it comes to accessing federal benefits. Um, if you call the main line of their office and ask for what's called casework assistance, they often have a process where they'll ask you what issue you're having in getting your benefit, and then they are supposed to reach out to the Social Security Administration or the U.S. Department of Agriculture on your behalf, in order to try and resolve the issue. Like I mentioned, it's a free service for their constituents, and it's useful not just because it can help get issues unstuck, but
Hmm.
also it makes your member of Congress aware of the challenges that you're having with these federal programs. And the storytelling portal, that's hosted on the Arc of the US's website is a really important advocacy tool, that I use to provide examples to the USDA and the Social Security Administration about the issues that people are having, and also sharing them more broadly with members of Congress, in order to help better describe the issues that need to be fixed.
Hmm. And we will make sure that our listeners have that where they can click the link so they can share their stories because everybody's story matters and it can definitely make a difference.
Absolutely.
So, well, thank you so much for stopping by and giving us that amazing update. If you are listening, we will have links for the storytelling portal. Part of my job is to be able to reach out to members of Congress and members of the Senate. So if you're having issues, you are more than welcome to reach out to me. I can help you get in touch with your congressman or congresswoman, and we will get anything that we can fixed for you. If anything else comes about, Darcy will pop in and definitely let us know. So thank you so much for listening and have a great rest of the day.